Good evening. Good evening. Welcome in. Gonna shake off the rust here a little bit. I'll try to set up like a intro and stuff, so I don't just like come in and blast through your speakers or headphones or whatever. But my name is Jason, aka Woo Woo J Train, and we are gonna hop into a bullpen draft this evening because it is never too early to draft baseball ever. I see we've got a few people in here already. My guy Nez, thank you for popping in, man. I'm gonna try to make sure we can get hopefully a full lobby. We'll see. I was checking a little bit earlier, and there was a draft. I only needed like 3 or 4 more, so I'll check again before I hop in one on stream here. But we got crew here. Car Park, thanks for stopping in. We are going to talk about some strategy, kind of what I've been doing so far, and also just give you my guys in targeting and fading right now. I'm going to check a draft real quick and see what we need. All right. There's one that only needs 1 more to start. My concern is if I get into one that needs 12 more people or needs to be filled, it'll take forever to fill. But I also don't want to. Nez, what do you think, man? Should I just hop in? I don't want to rug people who want to draft, so I might just wait and chat for a little bit and hope we can get this thing filled up. I don't have much of a bat signal yet. I gotta keep growing a little bit here, but let's go ahead and just look at exposures real quick. So I have done 29 drafts so far. You're in the 10 out of 12 one already. All right, you know what? Let's hop in one because I'm afraid that this thing is gonna take forever to fill if I don't. So I'm gonna go ahead and share. Sorry guys, I'm rusty. It's been a minute. All right, here we are. Let's go and hop in and see what happens here. There we go. All right, looks like we're full. All right, here we go. Guess we're starting. Cool. All right, Nez, you're in here. Cool. Car Park's in here. Awesome. I'm picking 11th. That's interesting. We'll see what happens. While this is booting up, let's take a look at completed draft so far. So I need to name these teams. I haven't, but here are my exposures by position so far. I am very concentrated right now. Kind of my game plan is to just kind of go all in on guys that I really like that I think are underpriced right now. And then kind of back off drafts for a little bit. I'm sure around like, Christmas time and stuff, I'll back off a little bit. I don't want to knock out like 50 drafts before December ends. But the problem is on this platform, it's just so much fun to draft. And it's really hard for me to not hop in one because it's so much fun. But as you can see, I've got, you know what, this hasn't refreshed. Hold on one second. Try to get this to refresh. There you go, 29 teams. Okay. So Grayson, Fought, and Taj are my top 3 pitchers right now that I've got exposure to. All 3 of them are too cheap. That's just it. One guy who's really interesting that I'm in on that I'm not sure if others are at the moment is Roki Sasaki because I think that once his landing spot is announced, I think his price is going to shoot up. So for me, I don't want to miss out on him because he's just fun. And I think he's going to be really good. There are huge concerns about, innings and, I could see the Dodgers, if he goes to the Dodgers, doing like a 6-man rotation thing. I think there's some rumblings of him going to the Padres too. Nez is saying he's gonna rise, no doubt. That's exactly why I'm drafting him right now because his price is not going to go down. I think the scenarios that would have to play out for his price to go down are pretty much have almost a 0% chance of happening. So once he's signed, once we know where he's going, if it's a team like the Dodgers, I don't know that his price is going to rise all that much, just because I think we kind of all know that the Dodgers are going to be really careful with him. If he goes to the Pirates, though, Nez, first off, you will not be wearing pants for a week. And second off, well, I guess they'll probably rest him too. But wouldn't that be awesome? Because he said he's interested in small market teams. Like, anything's possible. I don't know that that's possible, but anything is possible, I tell myself. So we got a pretty standard start here. We had Tucker go ahead of Witt. Yeah, dream on, my friend. Okay, so I'm in the 11th spot. I'm on the clock, and I'm going to go ahead and click Corbin Carroll's name. I was completely out on him last year. I think I only drafted him like 3 times out of almost, what was it? I think it was 289 drafts that I did between the bullpen, the dinger, and the bunt contests. And honestly, I think I only clicked Corbin Carroll's name 3 times. And then he kind of went nuts for the last part of the regular season last year. It's going to be really hard to not click Mookie Betts here. I'm going to do Carroll Betts. I feel like I have a couple of Carroll Betts teams, but it just seems a little bit too difficult to pass on him right now. Yeah, rip. Nez stuck to Autodraft King. Yeah, I've noticed. I noticed that guy is on autopilot quite a bit, but that's all right. You're gonna find that in these drafts. A lot of times, I think people just like forget that they're in a draft. I even did it actually yesterday. I queued one up and went to do something for like 40 minutes and came back to 5 picks already made. So it was a good 5 picks, but I hate forgetting in auto drafting teams. But anyway, back to Corbin Carroll. At the end of last year, his power came back. Like, I think that his shoulder issue that he had in 2022 was like, what year is it? No, 2023. I think that really sapped his power for the better part of 2024. But he started to find his power stroke, and if he gets that power back, and we all know he can steal, he just seems like a fun pick. And in the back half of this draft, if you get like the 10, 11, 12 spot, I feel like if any of those initial outfielders are there, you got to take one of them, because it gets really, really ugly in outfield really quick. And I have a very difficult time starting with 2 infielders. I have a few 2 infield teams, but leaving the first or second round without an outfielder just feels mega bad, because you're playing catch up. So, and then the Mookie, it's Mookie Betts. Like, he had a quote down year last year because of injury. And this is a guy who was being drafted, 5th, 6th, 7th overall last year. And I mean, you can make the case that he's a pretty solid value back there at the 11, 12 spot. Oh, geez. Yeah, that's auto drafts in, like, when you're trying to draft like playoff teams. I'm sure you guys are doing that for football right now. Like, having multiple drafts queued up where you have somebody timing out every time has got to be frustrating. I don't mind it so much in these best ball drafts, because I really like to kind of think through each pick and like try to pay attention to what's happening around me. We've got a couple of interesting picks here from the 1 and 2 spot, with Zach Wheeler going pretty early and Dylan Cease going really early. So that takes away a couple of pitchers if I wanted to go that. Crew with a great question here. What's your first 5 round strat? I've been focusing on 0-2-3 or 1-1-3 starts, and that's exactly what I've been doing. I think that the secret's out, right? Outfield gets ugly pretty quickly. So A lot of these outfielders are getting pushed up. There's a few outfielders in this range in particular that, like, I don't know, man. I don't know that I can click Brent Rooker at 31. I don't know that I can click Michael Harris at 33. Normally I've got one or two outfielders at this point. So, like, I don't feel the need to grab one of these guys. I love, like, James Wood is going to be really, really fun to watch. But man, paying this price for him seems a little difficult for me. So yeah, I've been really trying to get to 0-2-3 or 0-3-2 starts, because there is this glut of pitchers and like the 9th through 14th rounds that I love. And I'm on the clock here, so let me figure out what I want to do real quick. So I've got Mookie and Corbin Carroll. You know what? Let's do an Arizona stack with Ketel Marte. Arizona is one of my favorite stacks last year because Marte, Eugenio Suarez, who I had, I think, about 30% of last year, Christian Walker, all those dudes were pretty cheap. I'm back up real quick. So I have to, I cannot leave this first stream without drafting Mike Trout, lest you all call me a fraud. So I'm clicking Mike Trout's name. All right. So let's have the Mike Trout conversation, right? Well aware that he gets hurt, has gotten hurt much more than we would like recently. Okay. But I would like to remind everybody how good of a start he got off to last year, right? He was leading the majors in home runs right before he went down. Now, granted, I think he had 10 or 11, and like all of them but one were solo shots, which is irritating. But guys, it's still Mike Trout. Okay. It's still Mike Trout. We play a ceiling game, right? We're looking for ceiling outcomes here. Okay. So when I look at the guys that are in the range of Mike Trout, specifically in the outfield, Ian Happ doesn't do much for me, although he's been very consistent. He's scored a good amount of points. This dude is a great accumulator. Riley Green, I like, but again, he doesn't have the upside that Mike Trout does if Mike Trout stays healthy. Anthony Santander, no idea where he's going to go. Has had a couple of great years. Luis Robert just went. Brian Reynolds went. What I'm saying is none of these guys have the upside that Mike Trout does, because it's still Mike Trout. Even if he's not as good as he was 2 or 3 years ago, right? I still believe that if we see 120, 130 games out of Mike Trout, he will be an absolute smash in the 4th round. And he started in the 5th round. So, admittedly, he is kind of climbing to a point where I'm starting to get a little uncomfortable being as overweight as I am on him. And when this draft ends, I'll go back to my exposures. I just don't want to miss a pick. Well, I am 15 picks away. Yeah, screw it. Let's go look at it. You can see here, I'm at 45%, and that just went up from drafting him. So, like, I'm not screwing around when it comes to Mike Trout. I just believe in the skill, and I know he's had trouble staying healthy. They say they want to DH him more. Crew does make a good point that them bringing in Soler does clog up DH. I think that they would rather have Jorge Soler be bad in the outfield than to have Mike Trout get hurt playing the outfield. So I do think that they'll probably go back and forth a little bit. But if we can just get, even if Trout gets hurt in like August or September or something, right? Like, we got to remember this contest doesn't go for the entire season. So it's almost like we know at some point something's going to happen. Like, that's kind of what we feel like, right? Hopefully it's just like a hamstring strain or something. He's out for 2 weeks. But man, if he stays healthy, there are a few guys who have the upside that he does. So that is my pitch on Mike Trout. He's kind of one of my flag plants this year. And I am ready and willing to take a massive L if he winds up getting hurt again. I'm just not going to try to project injuries because they're not projectable. They just happen. Stuff happens. So, as you can see here, and I'll go back to the draft here in a minute, Josh Lowe is my highest owned outfielder at almost 50%. That's kind of crazy. So I probably should get that number down. And then I'm ready to be crushed again. Well, let me back up. I was even with the field on Nolan Jones last year, but I was at like 0% before I listened to our friend Chip, who was in love with him last year. And our guy Ben here, hashtag pesky, yeah, Kerry Carpenter, Kerry Bonds rather, just seems too cheap. And I guys, I don't know why I can't stop with Garrett Mitchell. Don't ask me to defend it. Oh shoot, I'm on the clock. Look at that timing. That was beautiful. Okay, let's go ahead and Mookie, Marte, Carroll, Trout. I'm trying to increase my Yelich exposure, so I'm going to go ahead and take him right now. He's too cheap. Just flat out. He's too cheap right now. And the back stuff from last year does kind of concern me a little bit, but I don't know. He just kind of feels like a steal there. It depends. I think like as news comes out, like spring training starts, whatever. Yeah, Nez chiming in here. It is. Yelich is, in the 60s with ADP. So, let's see. What do I want to do here? Do I want to just go crazy with outfield? Let's do it. Let's just bludgeon people to death. I am very in on Adolis Garcia at this price. I was completely out on him the last 2 years. And that worked out fine for me because he was a second round pick the last 2 years. And I was just not willing to do it. In 2020, Garcia, there we go. In 2023, it wound up working out. He had 39 home runs, 1,447 points. Like he had a great year. It took a early to mid second round pick to get him last year, and I think I had 0. It was close to 0. However, getting him at like 60, I'm all about that. And Texas is 100% one of my favorite teams to stack this year, like unquestionably. I haven't gotten to much Marcus Semien because there's a bunch of stuff in this range that I really like. But Semien, I think, is a little too cheap. I have quite a bit of Seager. I have a ton of Josh Jung. I'm going to have to up my Jake Berger exposure now that he's in Texas because that's awesome for him. And I have a ton of Evan Carter. So Texas is probably the number one offense that I have right now. I also have quite a few Angels outfield stacks because there's nothing in their infield that excites me. So I've got quite a bit of Trout and Soler, and I'm trying to get a little bit more Ward too. But this outfield start right here. So let's talk strategy, right? So I'm 6 picks in. I've got a 0-2-4 build with Mookie Betts, Ketel Marte in the infield, and then the outfield is Corbin Carroll, Mike Trout, Christian Yelich, Adolis Garcia. With me investing this much draft capital into outfield, I need to shut outfield down for probably 8 to 10 rounds. I try to draft every team as if like, how does this team win, right? Or how does this team perform well? And if I'm leaning into Mike Trout's going to be healthy, Yelich is going to be healthy, Garcia is going to bounce back. If I'm correct, if this team is right, I don't need any more outfielders for a very long time. Now, if I'm wrong, the team's dead already. So there's no point in investing more draft capital into like pretty good outfielders because if 2 of these guys fail, I'm probably dead in the water already. So that's how I'm going to view this draft is now that my outfield is pretty clean. I'm going to keep the outfielders up just so we can keep talking about them, but I'm going to really start hammering infield and pitcher. Christian Walker is a guy who I believe has been steadily falling. I'd have to go back and look at the first draft I did, which was the very first draft that I was literally the first person in the lobby, which I don't know what that says about me, but I was like refreshing every 5 seconds. I feel like Christian Walker's dropped like 20 spots since it launched. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. His landing spot is going to be very interesting. I know that there's been some chatter about him going to the Yankees, and that would be very fun. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm going to pull up the draft board here in a minute, guys. I'm sorry I forgot to do that. And Crew saying, yeah, if Walker lands with the Yankees, he's going to skyrocket. I agree with that. His ADP is going to climb pretty aggressively. Quite frankly, I mean, like, they need another bat, man. After losing Juan Soto, Gleyber's a free agent too, so they need something. So, going to be on the clock here. I'm going to make these 2 picks, and then I'm going to pull up the draft board. My apologies for not doing that. Again, I'm rusty. I haven't done a best ball stream in months. I love Cassis and I love Yamamoto. I'm going to go with Yamamoto here. He is entirely too cheap for his upside. We saw him flash it in the World Series. Like, he just went out there and just put his nuts on the table. And then we were like, oh, so that's what they signed him for. Cool. Great. I think he's down here because, injuries. Real quick, I have been very, very in on Tristan Cassis. Let me make sure I'm not missing a stack partner or anything. Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to go with Cassis here. Let's bolster this offense a little bit. Car park, you missed a pick. That's all right, man. Let's see what you got going on. If you don't mind. If you do, it's too late. Oh, you took my guy, Garrett Crochet. Yeah, how have I not even talked about this yet? Probably because I just jumped into a draft. For those of you who may not be familiar with me, I am a very tortured White Sox fan. So seeing Garrett Crochet get traded to the Red Sox is kind of bittersweet. Knew it was going to happen because that was weird. Because Jerry Reinsdorf is not going to sign a pitcher long term because that's just not what he does. Twitter seems to like the return they got for him. I am not the prospects guy. Like, that's just not my world. So it sounds like they got an okay return from. I don't really trust them to develop those prospects very well, but we shall see what happens. So pulling up the draft board here. There was something I was going to touch on, and I can't remember. Oh, yes. Underpriced pitcher. I have a ton of Garrett Crochet. I think he's actually still too cheap at 56. I think he has like, okay, don't get mad at me, Nez. Don't get mad at me. It is Skeens like upside. I'm not saying he's Paul Skeens. I'm not saying he's as good as Paul Skeens or will be as good as Paul Skeens, but start to start, he has Skeens-esque upside when it comes to the massive amount of strikeouts that he can rack up. I've been taking Crochet over Snell, not necessarily over Cole, because I think Cole is kind of like criminally underpriced here. But I've been taking Crochet over Sale and Gilbert, and I'm not drafting Wheeler or Cease because they're too expensive. Like, Crochet's the dude here for me. But back to my Yamamoto pick, like, I just can't fathom taking Framber, Michael King, Sasaki, Green, or Castillo over him. I was very in on Hunter Green last year, and he was awesome. I'm just scared by him this year, and I don't know why. He's kind of one of those guys that, like, I've been almost completely avoiding, and I need to see, like, the bat come out. I need to see projections come out and tell me what we expect out of him. Because, I mean, right now we're just drafting off vibes, baby. Right? We don't have projections. Well, it's probably people who are much smarter than me that have their own projections, but like I'm an idiot, so I don't do that. I'm just out here having a good time clicking names, man. So, yeah, Yamamoto feels great there. Let's see. I'm going to go back to. Oh, I didn't talk about the Tristan Cassis pick very much. When he was right last year, like we kind of saw what people were talking about with this dude. I think if he just puts together a healthy season, like he just kind of feels like a guy who should be going in the 60s to me. Again, another guy that I want to see the projections on, because I'm just interested to see what happens there. Nez making arguably one of the best picks in the draft, in my opinion, right now. Royce Lewis started in the 140s, I think, 130s, 140s, and I could not stop clicking his name. And he is he's the same thing as Mike Trout to me, where it's not the same because Royce is much younger and he's only played for 2 years, but Royce has the always injured aura about him right now, which, may not be fair. I have to make a pick real quick, and Grayson and Hunter Brown are gone. So I'm going to go bash my head against the wall. I'm tired of drafting guys with shoulder issues, but I'm going to go Matt McLain here. That just feels too cheap for him. Now I'm going to have to kind of hunker down with pitching. Shane McClanahan is a guy that I absolutely love. And if we knew that the Tampa Bay Rays were just going to like let him pitch, he would be one of the best steals of the draft. I'm not so much worried about them throttling his innings when they really matter in the playoffs. I'm worried about Tampa Bay going with a 6-man rotation because they've got McClanahan, they've got Jeffrey Springs coming back from injury, they've got Drew Rasmussen coming back from injury, Taj Bradley's really young, Shane Baz is really young. Like, I'm worried about them doing the 6-man rotation thing, which would limit his ability to get 2 starts in a week and stuff like that. But I do love Shane McClanahan. I feel like I need a little bit more juice in this pitching staff. I'm going to go ahead and go with Kodai Senga and just pray that he stays healthy. If he stays healthy, like if he's 100%, he's a smash. Let me check it on the chat. Green getting there with less Ks, less walks kind of weirds me out. Yeah, and like there's this thing with I can't remember who it was, but someone on Twitter had like a running list of the starters with the highest average fastball velocity. And it was like 20 names deep or something. I might be exaggerating, but it felt like 20 names deep. And literally every single one, except for Hunter Green, had like a major injury. So that's not like, actionable info necessarily, but these guys that throw really, really hard seem to get hurt sometimes. And I don't know. Green's he's just at that price where it's like, I'd rather do something else. So Nez is talking about Royce here, I'm sure. Was shocked he's down here. Yeah. He has gotten tagged with he's always hurt, right? Which like it was, I'm new me probably will never see this, but if he does, I apologize ahead of time, my friend. In a way, it was kind of funny that Royce got hurt in the very first game of the regular season last year. After all this offseason chatter about like all this hype about him, he just absolutely smashed when he came up in 2023. We're like, all right, this is this guy's year. And immediately, the dude gets hurt and misses like 6 weeks or something. And it's not like actually funny, but when you just really think about it in terms of like what's the most Schadenfreude thing for someone who doesn't like the Twins or whatever to watch happen, like that's it. Royce getting hurt was it. It was just wild. But yeah, he shouldn't be in the hundreds. And I agree that Gallen is too cheap. Flat out, crew. I'm with you there. I don't think he has like he doesn't have the strikeout upside of a few of the guys that are going around him. Sorry, I forgot to bring this up again. Start to start, like Freddie Peralta has better strikeout stuff. Obviously Glasnow at 99 is insane for his talent. We don't like he said his elbow's fine, but like how much do we actually trust that? I'm trying to get more Glasnow here because of like spring training starts or whatever, and he looks healthy. His price is going to jump tremendously. But start to start, Freddie Peralta has more strikeout upside than Gallen. So does Grayson. So does Hunter Brown. I would argue McClanahan, Senga as well. Gallen's just kind of like that safe guy who's probably going to throw 180 to 200 innings with a strikeout per inning and maybe a 3.5 ERA, which is going to play well for this format. So I agree that Zach Gallen is too cheap. He's just like in this range where there's other guys that I've been gravitating to a little bit more. So good call there. Going to be up here in 5 picks. So let's recap the team real quick. I've made 10 picks. I've got a 2-4-4 build. So my 2 pitchers are Yoshinobu. Oh my goodness gracious. I know how to say this guy's name. Yoshinobu Yamamoto. 3rd time's a charm. Kodai Senga is the other guy. The infield is Mookie Betts, Ketel Marte, Tristan Cassis, and Matt McLain. And then the outfield's Corbin Carroll, Mike Trout, Christian Yelich, and Adolis Garcia. So we are still in this range of pitchers that I really, really enjoy. So no matter what you 3 in front of me do, I'm going to wind up taking a pitcher. I just really hope I get the guy that I want. So Schweck, try not to ruin my life, and you ruined my life, and you're banned forever if you ever come in here. Just saying. Tanner Bybee is just like, I love that guy. Taking Bailey Ober over Joe Ryan feels kind of weird, but like Bailey Ober was incredible last year. So let's just go ahead and do it. I have quite a bit of Joe Ryan right now, so I'm just trying to like even out my exposures a little bit. By the time it's all said and done, my plans change, but my plan is to be relatively evenly spread out at pitcher, because pitcher injuries are usually, let's stack the Minnesota starters. How about that? Let's do that. We'll do Joe Ryan too. When a pitcher gets hurt, it's usually like, his elbow exploded, so he's out for 1.5 years, right? That's what it feels like. So I try to spread out at pitcher because I just like, maybe it's not the best thing from like a game theory. Like maybe it's better to just plant your flag and be like, I'm going to be 40% on these 7 guys. Right. But my brain can't allow me to do that, because there's part of this too is just like doing this for fun and tracking the teams year over year, which is fun. Car Park with an absolutely insane reach here, by the way, taking Evan Carter at 137. Oh, I guess it's not insane. It's only 15 picks ahead of time, but I love that pick. Anyway, so I'm gonna probably be relatively evenly spread out-ish at pitcher. Of course, there'll be some guys I'm overweight on, like Grayson Rodriguez is probably going to be my highest owned pitcher if his price doesn't change. In the event if it does, I probably don't really care. This pick, Jared Jones at 139 by Nez, that was minus 5,000. Like if I could bet that on DraftKings.com, I might have just sold the house and put all my money on it. But he actually feels too cheap there. Jewish McCaffrey checking in. What's up, man? How are you? Thank you for hopping in here. Car park saying only reached because you wouldn't be their next pick. Yeah, you're probably right. I don't think I would have taken him in this draft because, again, I've kind of like committed to shutting down outfield for a minute. But if Evan Carter's healthy, like, can we go back to last year before the Wyatt hype train got out of control? Evan Carter was, I have a really hard time remembering like where guys were getting picked, but if memory serves me correct, I think Evan Carter was like in the 40s or 50s last year. Point being, he's going significantly later this year, and he should start the year healthy. Again, back injuries always kind of spook me. But when you look in the kind of the context of how the drafts work, right? Outfield starts to get ugly pretty quickly. Evan Carter is one of those guys who I'm just flag planting and saying, you know what? If this dude stays healthy, he's better than almost everybody around him. So that's kind of where I'm at on him. I keep bouncing around. Hopefully it's not irritating you guys too much, but like I said with the pitcher exposures, I'd rather just be even and just be able to kind of enjoy the ride, right? And I just the pitcher injuries that occurred last year were just insane. Like, some of them were just crushing, like the Kyle Bradish thing. Like, that was an emotional roller coaster, right? We went from this guy's smash to he's hurt and we're all dead inside. And then he came back and was that dude. And I'm like, guys, I am rich. And before I finished that sentence, he got hurt again and was gone forever. So, but that Yuri Perez thing, Jewish McCaffrey saying Evan Carter, I think, got steamed up from like 90 up to 50. That sounds right. That sounds right to me. And then Nez output putting on a clinic in tax loss harvesting. Absolutely. He's got a very unique, what is it? 1.9 something build going on right now. Hold on. I got to make it big. Dang it. Yeah, opt out. 292. The old 292 build, guys. Who knows? Might be optimal. We are going to, while we're talking about guys who are hurt, who can maybe break our hearts, like, I want to get more Brandon Woodruff. But let's have some fun and go Michael Toglia. I really wish that Toglia was a little bit cheaper. Like, coming into the contest before it even launched, right? I was thinking to myself, my guy, my 20th round guy this year was going to be Michael Toglia. Because, again, I have no clue I'm not an ADP prognosticator. So we get into the contest and he started at like the 140s or something like that, I think. I was like, son of a, because I don't know that I'm willing to draft him in like the 12th round. But it kind of has like that Adam Dunn profile where he might hit like 210, but he also he might hit 40 home runs. And he plays in Coors. And I'm getting a lot of Nolan Jones. So they're a fun little stack together. So yeah, I just went ahead and did that. I'm gonna go ahead and just take Brandon Woodruff here because if he's healthy, this little note about him, which I clicked into quickly, opening day not a given. This caused him to immediately decrease in price because he was, the last couple drafts that I've gone or whatever, I've been able to get him at like a 20 pick discount. So I probably should have just let him go to see if that happened again. But he was a guy I was massively in on last year, and he got hurt. Boo. But he feels great. And I don't look, especially with the staff that I have right now, like the Senga thing is kind of worrisome, but like Yamamoto's going to be there. Ober's going to be there. Ryan's going to be there. If I have to miss 2 or 3 weeks of Brandon Woodruff at pitcher, like, okay, whatever. It's not going to kill me. If that hurts me, that means the rest of my team is ass. Like, I should be able to build a team that can withstand Brandon Woodruff missing 2 or 3 starts. Like, who cares? So that's where I'm at. Who is this year's Paul Skeens? or Puka Nakua. I mean, good luck. Matt has an answer for Nez, and that's Bubba Chandler. I don't know, like, who's this year's Paul Skeens? Who's this year's Garrett Crochet? What I would like to note, I drafted 3 times last year, so I deserve some credit for being a crazy person, knowing that he wasn't going to pitch when it mattered most. I don't know, man. There's really not many late round pitchers that I like right now. I'm just kind of like done with pitcher usually. Like I might have one guy, and one of them is we've got a Jackson Jobe thing. Matt with a comment here still has a better chance in his 18 4 QB playoff best ball builds. You guys are hating on the playoff best ball teams. Jackson Jobe's an interesting one. 20th round Brandon Lau. Could you shut up, crew? Let's not give away all the secrets, please. And curious what you're doing with DeGrom. Worried I'll have a gross amount as ADP holds. Dude, I am so like the inner strife, the struggle with myself on DeGrom this year is absurd for me. I feel like I'm being a little bit of a coward with him because with how in on Trout I am, given his injury stuff, right? I should be in on DeGrom with the same theory. But here's why. Where am I at on him so far? I have to look at this. 24%. It's actually more than I thought. Now, granted, I'm 29 drafts in, so like 24%. This is 7. He's on 7 teams, right? I am, barring news that like he's dead again, I'm gonna have a hard time probably being under 20% on him. If I had to guess, I'm just obviously I can't prognosticate about what I'm going to be doing in March, but the amount of talent that he possesses, he's incredible. Another reason why I don't have as much DeGrom as I would probably want at this point is because Garrett Crochet is right in that same range. And I have a ton of Crochet. Cole falls sometimes, so I jump on him every once in a while. It's a good range to kind of get a top line ace. So that's why I'm quote only at 24% on DeGrom. But I feel like he's the same theory for me as my Mike Trout stance. Like it's Jacob DeGrom. Nez here with a very interesting pick. And this is another guy I've struggled with this year. Like Robbie Ray is just absolutely perfect for this format. We don't care if he walks 7 guys in one start, right? It doesn't matter. If he pitches the inning in 2/3, walks 7 guys, we don't care because it's week-to-week scoring. When he strikes out 13 and goes absolutely nuclear, though, you're going to be like, oh, I probably should have drafted him. So he's a dude. He's coming off of injury that could smash at his price, but I don't have much of him. So I'll probably try to get more. And now I got to think about what I want to do next. So there is a 0% chance that I'm drafting Nathaniel Lowe at this price. Salvador Perez, I might draft him in a stack. But, Jeremy Pena is boring. Let's see. This is tough. I actually don't know what I want to do here. I like this construction I've got, though. Let's go ahead and embrace some young fun. Let's go with Spencer Arrighetti. Looking at his ratios last year, 171 strikeouts and 145 innings pitched. That'll play. If he pitches 160, 165 innings this year, with those same ratios, he's pushing 200 strikeouts, So I'm just going to go ahead and take Arrighetti. I actually have quite a bit of him. And I'd be very interested to see what projections say about him. And then this next pick, we got a few interesting guys I want to talk about here in a minute. I don't like this range of players in general. Like, genuinely, I don't. Shooby Dooby going nuts here with the Spencer Horwitz at 177. That's interesting. I like it. That's fun. I've heard, like, I think Wilson Contreras is probably a value, but he just I don't know, he just bores me. I don't know what else to say. I'm just kind of like, all right, I guess. I think I know what I'm going to do here. It's probably not the optimal play for like the construction that I have, but I'm going to start drafting more Max Muncy because he's another dude who is just absolutely perfect for this format. Like, yeah, he might have a week where he, gets on base like 4 times, but then he'll hit, 6 home runs in 3 days or something. Like, his potential, especially in that Dodgers lineup, what is he going to be hitting? Like 4th, 5th, 6th, something like that, 5th or 6th probably. Getting him in the 16th round feels really, really good. Ben with another shout out for this year's Skeens, Bowden Francis. He's a fun name. Also, shouldn't Strider be going earlier? That the playoffs are almost all that matters. Strider's a guy that I've struggled with too. I really want to get more of him. I am at 17%. Okay, that's fine. With the way that pitching has shifted downward in cost, like if you take Strider as your first pitcher, I think that's probably a mistake. Okay, just kind of how I'm building. If Strider is your second or third guy in, like, yeah, you've allocated quite a bit of draft capital to pitcher at that point, so you're going to have to wait a little bit, I think. But if you can build a staff that's good enough to just kind of like weather the storm until whenever he comes back, like if whoever can sneak through Ronald Acuna teams, and I didn't even talk about him, but I want to. If you can sneak through some Ronald Acuna teams, sneak through some Spencer Strider teams, like you are looking really, really good in the playoff rounds. So they are definitely not picks you want to make if you're just trying to advance to the playoffs, which if you're just trying to advance to the playoffs, you're playing this wrong. But if that's how you want to play the game, have fun. They're not the guys that are going to help you advance, right? Like Acuna is going to miss maybe a month, maybe a little bit more, depending. And he's going like 16th or 17th overall right now. So I've clicked him a few times because I just refuse to be at 0 on him, knowing that he's not going to help me a little bit. But man, if you can sneak through Acuna or Strider, like you're looking good. And Nez agreeing, it makes you feel good that Muncy's a great pick down there. He's a guy that is just perfect, just absolutely perfect for this type of format. When you need scoring in bursts, right? That's what Max Muncy does, and he's going to be hitting in an absolutely elite offense. So just feels great. Let's recap the team real quick in case you're just listening audio. And I've been trying to make sure I'm saying players' names more instead of like he. So, give me some feedback if you could. If you're just listening, if you find yourself not knowing who I'm talking about, like let me know because I want to be better at that. And while I'm chatting here, I'll just say it. If you're here for the first time, welcome in. Thank you so much for spending an hour plus of your time with me. You could be doing literally anything tonight, and yet you came in here to draft and talk baseball. I think that's awesome. So thank you. If you could, if you like this, obviously go ahead and drop a like, subscribe to the channel. I will try to, once really get into like the swing of draft season. This is probably the only stream I'll do this week. but I'm going to try to do at least 2 a week once we get rolling. And then once the dinger launches, I might up it, but we'll see how it all plays out. Car park here because of Nez. Thank you. Thank you very much. Nez, as always, man. Great to have you in here. Car park, if you go back, if you have some time, if you go back into streams from last year that I did, Nez actually joined me on one. And I got to tell you, that is one of the most fun hour and a half periods of time that I've had in a long time. It was great having Nez on and chatting with him, drafting with him. I had a great time. I hope he did too. So make sure you check that one out. If you're a Nez fan, you got 100% Nez. Nez was going to Nez. Yeah. We'll check it out. Cool, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah, like the video and subscribe to the channel if you could. If you want to come back and check things out. This is what I do. I just come on here. We're just hanging out, clicking names, man, having a good time. So, all right, I've got a 6-6-4 build. I probably need to take some kind of outfielder person. Who do I have again? I don't really like much in this range. Oh, Michael Conforto jumped up. Wow, that's interesting. You know what? Let's go with Kjerstad. I don't know like how much he's going to play. I would hope he's going to win an everyday job. If he doesn't and you're drafting him in the 17th round, that's going to be pain. And yeah, Nez saying the infamous crochet draft. So the day that Nez was coming on, I knew I wanted to do an homage to the Badge Bros with like the ultimate scroll the F down pick, right? And so going into that stream, this is a true story. I was going to select Garrett Crochet no matter what. That afternoon, like a few hours before the draft, news breaks that Michael Kopech is going to go to the bullpen. Or no, it was the day he was announced as the opening day starter. Garrett Crochet is announced as the opening day starter at like 2 p.m. or something that day. And I'm like, you've got to be effing kidding me. Because that was just going to be my insane homer pick was Garrett Crochet. Because I was thinking with Kopech going to the bullpen, he was going to be a starter anyway. And of course, he's announced as the opening day starter. And I was like, oh, it's going to kind of ruin my bit. But it still worked. I think it still worked. All right, I'm going to shop and make a pick. So I've got a 6-6-5 build. And I'm just going to go ahead and play the hits here. I want Gavin Williams on this team. I think Gavin Williams in the 18th round is about as safe of a pick as it gets. When we look at, he struggled a little bit at times last year, but like he's a young guy. And he was hurt for a little bit, but what he did in the playoffs, if memory serves correctly, kind of like showed you what he can do, right? Averages, a strikeout per inning, basically. ERA was around, 4.5, something like that last year. So 5, not wonderful, but the talent is definitely there. And I'm kind of betting on a leap for him this year. I think that Gavin Williams could be, one of these guys we look back and say, who are we drafting in like the 18th round or later at pitcher who just kind of like smashed. There's a few names in here that are really fun. Like Merrill Kelly is too cheap. And I despise Merrill Kelly for an absolutely irrational reason because he completely dunked on my ass in 2023. I had none of him. And it seemed like every important week or playoff week, he just completely went nuts and knocked me out. But Merrill Kelly is too cheap for sure. Car Park asking, is 776 generally the optimal way to build? I'm going to go ahead and plug my dear friends, the Stacking Dingers guys. So that's Dark Sheep, D4RKSH33P _. Do not forget the underscore on Twitter, X, whatever you call it. Billy Jones has joined him quite a bit. He's at SportsVizBJ on Twitter. Our guy Baseball has contributed to that. B3ISBOL. Too Much Tuma. Brennan Tuma has contributed to that channel. Stacking Dingers guys, Sheep and Billy, talked about that for the course of 2022, 23, 24, kind of what the optimal builds were. I would strongly encourage you to watch that episode of Stacking Dingers. I think it came out last week. It was great information, especially for somebody who is jumping into MLB Best Ball for the first time. It's great. If it was great, even if you played Best Ball, but jumping into it for the first time or kind of new to it, I feel like that episode really contained a lot of great information. My answer for 7-7 is 7-7-6, generally the optimal way to build. I think in general, 7s and 6s is optimal. But I do prefer 7-7-6 is, I think, my favorite way to build. It all depends on, I think, how much draft capital you expend at pitcher. Like if you draft, 3 pitchers in the first 8 rounds, then you probably should just say, I'm right, and this is going to be a 6-pitcher build, and go 6-7-7, something like that. With this particular team, I've got a little bit of concern about innings from Yamamoto and Senga and Woodruff. So that's why I just went with Gavin Williams as my 7th to just feel good about the staff. I'm going to turn off pitcher in my head. I won't turn it off here so we can see, who's coming up. But I think 7-7-6 is a very good construction. So that being said, this team is, I think, tailor built to be a 7-7-6. So the question is, who do we want that 7th infielder to be? And then who's going to be that 6th outfielder? So outfield is just, it's gross. It is gross this late. Jordan Walker is, Car Park's now my number 1 enemy because he took Brandon Lau. I'm just kidding, dude. Jordan Walker is a massively talented young prospect who is a very, very large man who, for some reason, really enjoys hitting the ball directly into the ground. So I'm hoping that in the 19th round, he can lift the ball into the air and, well, more than that, get playing time in St. Louis. That would be good. I'm willing to invest in some Jordan Walker in the 19th round and just say he's my last outfielder. If he winds up being like that guy as a prospect, former top prospect, like a 19th round pick when the outfield is just disgusting. Like I don't have any interest in Jock Peterson, guys, none. We'll see where he lands, but he's too platoony. I've got a lot of Garrett Mitchell. That might be bad because the Milwaukee outfield's pretty jammed up and he's a little platoony. We've been trying to do Victor Robles for years, it feels like. And I don't care that he was great per plate appearance last year with points. I just can't do it. And Andrew Benintendi is absolute dog water, so don't ever click his name. I'm just going to go ahead and take Noelvi Marte. He stacks with Matt McLain for me. And this is another, like, Marte was going relatively high last year before he got slapped with a suspension. And when he came back, like, he wasn't great. But when they traded Jonathan India to the Royals, to me, that signaled Marte is going to be an everyday player. I could be completely wrong. But the talent that this dude possesses, the power speed combination that he's got, he is fast, right? I think he's fast. Am I wrong? I think he's fast. Will this tell me? Yeah, he's fast. 9 stolen bases, 35 singles. So like he didn't have that many at bats last year. So he's got, a decent power speed combination that I think is going to play pretty well in Cincinnati. I am planning on recapping everyone in here who's drafting with us. If you do not want me to recap your team, let me know. But I'm going to recap Nez's team, and I'm going to recap Car Parks because y'all are in here, and I appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, Marte and CES are so back. I have no CES right now, and that feels like a hole in my draft because he's also like the 20th rounder. Currently, what I've been doing with drafts is just flag planting like 18th, 19th, 20th round guys, specifically 19th, 20th round guys. Like these are my dudes. These are the guys that I'm drafting in these rounds right now. And I'm hoping that good news comes out and they start to move up because I've already got them. And then I can start getting, loading up on some other guys that I might like in that range. Nez is saying we had a little fun at the end of the draft. It looks like you did. I can't wait to talk about your team because you got some fun going on here, man. And then Car Park, honest critique, no ball, but not a huge MLB best ball. Yeah. I'll let you know. You're going to find, like, whenever I review teams, I'm never going to be like, oh, this team is ass, because there are so many ways that you can build teams. And I think as long as you have like a plan, like if you have a reason for constructing your team the way you did, and you're not just like randomly clicking teams, like your team should tell a story. I think that's a really corny ass way to say it, but to a point, like your team needs to have a purpose and not just clicking people's names, right? So I'll be honest, but I'm not gonna like dog your team, man, because almost anything can work. So looks like our draft is done. So let's see if I can get it to refresh. Oh, wait a minute. Completed. Come on. I don't like dead air time, guys. There we go. All right, we're here. Full draft. So let's recap my team real quick. So I drafted out of the 11 hole, and real quick, I want to address Matt's comment here in chat. Don't want to forget about it. Probably Mariners fans bias, but I'm going to have a lot of Robles. He never flashed anything like what he did in Seattle before he got there. Yeah, I know he's getting some chatter here in kind of the best ball streets. I'm not buying in yet because I feel like we've been trying to make Victor Robles happen for like 15 years. I know that's an exaggeration, but like he's just one of those dudes that's like, oh, Victor Robles, this might be the year. But you're right. Like he kind of flashed some good stuff last year. Just like, is he going to play every day? Is he actually like good at baseball? I don't know. I'm gonna. He's one of those guys. I'm gonna wait for projections to come out before I actually do anything with him. So I drafted out of the 11th spot with a 7.76 build. My pitchers are Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Kodai Senga, Bailey Ober, Joe Ryan, Brandon Woodruff, Spencer Arrighetti, and Gavin Williams. My infield is Mookie Betts, Ketel Marte, Tristan Cassis, Matt McClain, Michael Tolia, Max Muncy, and Noelvi Marte. And then the outfield is Corbin Carroll, Mike Trout, Christian Yelich, Adolis Garcia, Heston Kjerstad, and Jordan Walker. Let's take a peek at our friend Nez's team. So he went with a 7.67 build out of the 6th position. So his pitching staff is Cole Reagans, Michael King, Kevin Gausman. If Kevin Gausman can remember how to strike people out, like he is a smash here. So I like that. Jared Jones, the lock of all locks to be on this team. Robbie Ray, Bubba Chandler, and Kumar Rocker. Nez said he got fun at the end of the draft. Nez is executing something that I have a hard time doing myself. These bullpen drafts, like ADP is virtually not real, right? And I have a hard time untethering myself from ADP and just saying like, these are the guys who are going to be on this team, and I don't care what their ADPs are. I struggle with that sometimes. Nez does not, because he has gigantic cojones, right? He can go out here and just build the team that he wants to build, and that's exactly what he did. So, infield, Bryce Harper, O'Neal Cruz, Royce Lewis, Tyler Fitzgerald, Kyle Manzardo. I'm going to load up on him. And Logan Ohapi. And then the outfield is Fernando Tatis Jr., Chaz Chisholm, Anthony Santander, Jason Dominguez. I don't know how to say his first name. Wouldn't it be funny if it's like Jason? It's not, though. Kerry Bonds, of course. Matt Wallner, of course. And Lars Nootbaar. This team is fun, man. Like, I just love watching guys be like, you know what? F ADP. I'm just going to go ahead and draft the guys that I think are good at baseball. So this is a really, really fun team. Kyle Manzardo is absolutely going to be more expensive in 2 or 3 months. Like, I don't know that we're going to be able to get him in like the 16th round in a little while. So I'm going to try to load up on him. He's a massively touted prospect, and like, who was Cleveland going to have people play in front of him? Like, that would be stupid because they're, like, he's a good hitter. So, and then Car Park. All right, here it comes. I'm going to destroy you. Picking from the 8th position, a 7-7-6 build. This looks like a pitching staff that I would draft. So Garrett Crochet, Grayson Rodriguez, Shane McClanahan is a sexy 1-2-3. Mackenzie Gore is a guy that I need to get more of. Sean Manaea is a guy I'm completely out on, but I get why you would pick him. Ryan Pepio and Walker Buehler. The infield is Ellie De La Cruz, Willie Adames, Bo Bichette, Josh Young, Zach Geloff, Brandon Lau, my guy, and Brian Rocchio. All right. I'm pretty sure it's the first time I've seen that guy selected. You do you, man. He's a fun little player. Julio Rodriguez, the outfield, Julio Rodriguez, Jackson Merrill, Luis Robert Jr. It's Robert. Taylor Ward, Parker Meadows, and Evan Carter. That outfield is crazy. That is, yeah, that's a great outfield. This is a good team, man. Like, genuinely, I got nothing. The Brian Rocchio thing, like, I feel like you built a team that was good enough where you could be like, yeah, I'm going to do something crazy and just go with Brian Rocchio. So I like it, man. It's a fun team. So Nez saying, nice team, fellows. Thanks for the stream. Well, thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate you stopping by as always. I'll go ahead and shut this one down. The next stream I hop on, I'm guessing I won't be able to get right into a draft. We could talk a little bit more strategy and player takes and stuff like that. I covered a little bit of my exposures earlier. But again, if you could, on your way out, if you haven't already, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, stop on by. Car Park, thank you for the kind words. I'll be happy to see you back. I'll try to get like a semi-regular-ish schedule as things really start to heat up. Probably won't stream until next week at some point, but thank you guys for stopping by. I appreciate it. My name is Jason, aka Woo Woo J Train, and we will catch you on the next one. Later, guys.